to our conversation today, you'll be inspired and motivated to make some really good, healthy changes in your life. And we even do our best to give you some good action items at the end of the podcast that you can implement into your life. So stick around to the end so you can get those things.
Stick around to the end. Sorry, I was like fixated on our timer, which is doing something funny. I'm Brandon. I'm Coach Brandon. Hi, everyone. If you're live on Facebook, give us a thumbs up. If you are not on Facebook, I appreciate that you listen to our podcast. That's great. Thank you for doing that.
That's pretty great.
Thank you for supporting us, and hopefully it's helpful. But if you want to be part of the conversation, you can follow us on Facebook and watch these live, and you can ask some questions. So
yes,
do that.
Yeah, do that.
Let's talk about what happened recently at the gym. It was pretty fun.
We had something pretty awesome happen at the gym recently. So back in spring, we put out some really cool new tank tops with Captain Waffle's adorable face all over them. And one of our members snatched one up instantly in her normal size. And unfortunately, when she got the shirt, not only was the shirt too small, like the actual shirt was undersized anyway, but it didn't fit her at all. It was way too small. So we found an appropriately sized tank top and reordered one in her size for her. And unfortunately, that also took quite a while to get here. It took a few months. Something happened.
Error that we didn't realize happened. And she was so kind. She didn't
she was very gracious
tell us
about
that
it.
She hadn't got it yet.
Yeah, she didn't tell us. So 4 months later, the tank top arrives here at the gym. So we let her know, and she comes in to try on this tank top, and it is way too big on her, like way too big on her. And so she asks if she can try the original tank top on, slips that thing on, and it fits her perfectly. Like, I'm telling you, perfectly.
It was nice. Yeah. It looked good.
And she was so excited. And now this is a member that for months we noticed, other people had noticed that things changed, but she really didn't see it. And until she had that moment where she put that original tank top on that she struggled to take off the first time she put it on, it was a pretty awesome moment. And she really felt, oh my gosh, this is great that this happened in just a short time.
Yeah. That was well, and it just illustrates the point that we want to make today. Is like, a lot of the time you're not going to see it, and when we're super fixated on like results and seeing a particular goal and just fixated on seeing progress the way we want to see progress, that a lot of the time we don't, all we see is the bad stuff, right? Or progress isn't fast enough. And so, we just don't see it day to day.
Right.
But especially when we're like looking at the scale, right? We're like hyper focused on the scale.
Yeah.
And so I just want to remind people that, just because the scale might not be changing, especially at the beginning, because your body's like doing,
all over the place,
adjusting and like gaining muscle and, so just because you don't see the scale doing what you expect it to do or want it to do doesn't mean that change is not happening. Like, good stuff isn't happening.
Right.
And a lot of the time other people will see your progress before you do.
Fair. Right. Very fair. And this is the hard part, not being able to see significant progress every day.
Right.
It almost feels like nothing is happening, right?
Yeah.
And so even when it is happening, you can't really feel it. You can't see it. And, in my opinion, whatever journey you're on, it can sometimes be the hardest part to get past, right? Because we're used to, with the diet culture these days, seeing instant results marketed all over the place. So we want something to happen fast, but they don't always happen fast, right? And so sometimes we have to take a look at our situation and just have a little bit of patience with ourselves, with our bodies, as we're making some changes.
Totally. Yeah. And when we see people do that, like, it's a night and day difference, right?
Yep.
Like, I've worked with a ton of people over the years now, and when people are hyper focused on that goal and they're like, just tracking every day. Now, and I shouldn't say everyone, some people looking at, tracking the macros and keeping like a spreadsheet and, weighing yourself 3 times a day. Like for some people that actually kind of helps reduce their anxiety over the whole thing, feeling like they're in control. For me, it's
That
like
must be nice.
exhausting. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it seems
That
like
sounds miserable.
yeah, it does. But for some people, like that kind of calms them down. Very few, if I'm being honest. Most of the
Very
time,
few.
that's just obsession. That's just like it's like neurotic, right? Like we're
Yeah.
just like, oh my God, like I'm so desperate to see something, and I get it. Like,
Mhm.
especially when like your health is involved or it's been a really long time or whatever, like it can just feel like, God, I just want to see something.
Mhm.
But the people who are happiest,
Yep.
right, are the ones who just let all that go,
Yeah.
right? And they just like they're focused on the process.
Right. And that can sometimes be easier said than done, but
yeah,
this
totally.
this is
Absolutely.
where, if you listen to our last podcast when we talked about consistency and patience, that consistency can help you out quite a bit. It can help you find wins and victories, but even more than that, it can give you the ability to look back and see how being consistent has been beneficial or helpful to your journey. And if you're looking back, it can show you your progress over the last few months instead of just looking at what happened yesterday. But like I
Right.
said to begin with earlier, it's hard not getting to see progress daily. And so it takes some time to be able to have that resilience to stop and look back and really examine how far you've come. It takes a minute to get there.
Yeah. And we talked a lot last week about what consistency really means, right? And that's an action
Yeah,
thing,
it
right?
is.
And it also, and how we view consistency and all that. If you want to hear more about that, check out last week's episode. But
Yes, please do.
but yeah, how we view consistency, and really all we have control over is our actions, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what do we do at Contra Costa Fitness?
I like this one. So we really do create this safe space where people can come to be the healthiest version of themselves, but more importantly, fall in love with fitness.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah,
Love it, not just
fall in
dread
love.
it. Love it.
Yeah, fall in love. Fitness is fucking boring, dude. Like
It is really
be,
boring.
It can be. It can be.
be.
Consistency can be boring,
Yes.
right? Like, and we, you've seen me. Like I have a billion workouts. We make it as fun as we can. I'm not saying this place is boring. Our place is awesome.
Our place is really awesome.
It's fun. Yeah. Ask our members how many workouts they've repeated.
And if it's boring.
But when you're trying to do it on your own, or you've been doing consistency means doing a lot of the same stuff.
Yes, it does.
Right. And if you don't have a background in fit, if you're not a professional, it's hard to make it fun.
Yeah.
Right. And be consistent because you're like, I got to change everything. And then that takes work and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
So what we have to do, right, is develop like willingness.
Yeah.
Right. And that's that whole like willingness versus willpower. Willpower has its place, overcoming hard things, being, doing things that we don't feel like doing and all that. But willingness, right?
Yeah.
We need to, as much as possible, develop the willingness and really embrace and love this journey. Yeah, that's what we want people to do, is to fall in love with fitness.
Yeah.
And how do we do it? How do we do it? That's what matters. How do we do that?
It does really help when you're trying to do something like make healthy changes in your life if you have support around you.
Right.
So good people you enjoy being around, and those people miss you too, and that you miss them. I always do have days that I feel tired, especially this year. I feel like I've had several days where, like, if I stop moving for 5 minutes, I'm going to pass out. I have definitely had those days. And I really don't want to do a workout on those days, but I know that I have to.
You had one of those days yesterday.
Oh my God, I had one of those days yesterday.
You totally worked out yesterday.
I totally worked out yesterday because by the time one person walks through the front door and the energy starts to change in the gym and I get all amped up and I'm like, okay, I'm ready to get moving. Let's do it. And then somebody's screaming at Brandon or cursing at him while he's just happily walking around.
There's no screaming, by the way. People aren't screaming at
Well, you're not screaming at people,
at
but some people are yelling at you and swearing at you, and it makes it
There is
enjoyable.
profanity. Yes.
It's funny and it's enjoyable, and it's all done in lighthearted fun, and it makes the whole thing just fun, and you fall in love with doing it.
Okay, so yeah, community and having that place. I think
Mhm.
that is tremendous. Yeah, working out alone is like pretty boring.
Super boring.
It's pretty boring. And if it's what you got, it's what you got. Like I'm definitely there. Like we run this place. I spend most of my time working out, on my own. But again, like I'm a professional. I've been doing it for freaking ever.
Mhm.
And so it's not so bad for me. But for most of us, like if I try to do, I don't know, something I'm not, if I were to take up swimming,
Mhm.
like I've tried that. Doing that by myself was just like, no, this isn't happening. Trying to do something that you're less familiar with.
Right. Totally.
This is kind of autopilot for me. For most of us, it is not, right?
Yeah.
So what do we do to keep with the swimming theme here?
Well, it's my favorite time of the podcast, if this is what we're talking about, because it means we're talking about action. And so let's talk about what that next step is, right? Far too often, I see people who they think they need the perfect habits, everything in place immediately to get started on their journey. I'm not going to do anything until I lay everything out, and then I'm going to jump in with both feet.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah. So
See
a couple
that a
of things that you're talking about right
Mhm.
there, right? One is like analysis paralysis.
Yeah.
All right. Like I've got to figure it all out. I've got to know what I'm doing before I do anything. And it keeps us from action. Yes.
Mhm.
Okay.
That can make things difficult.
And then jumping in with both feet and taking on too much stuff.
Much more difficult than all of this needs to be,
Yeah.
right? If you have that and you're thinking, oh, I have to have all these things first, it's going to make it harder to get started. It's going to make it more overwhelming. And then what that does to us is it makes it harder to succeed. So what I would say is take it one step at a time, small incremental change until you've cemented a habit, and then keep going. You just keep going. And if you need to change something, you change a little something, but you really want to try to minimize the transition. So setting up this huge routine and then going, oh, that doesn't work. Let me set up a brand new routine and try something completely different instead of, eating at this time didn't work for me. Maybe I'll try eating at this time instead.
Yeah. Small changes. So just keep swimming, right?
That's keep swimming.
Just keep going. And it doesn't mean, and make to your point, like make it doable. So you want to keep going.
Yeah.
Right. I'm never going to keep eating boiled chicken and Brussels sprouts. I'm not going to keep doing that.
I definitely would not do that.
If I freaking hate working out at 5 in the morning, I'm not going to do that forever.
No,
I'm not. It's just not going to work. Or if it just plain doesn't fit in my lifestyle. So, but one, I don't know. I've heard a bunch of different like analogies, like slow is smooth and smooth is fast. I actually like that one. Like meaning like, get in slowly. Don't take on too much. It'll go smoothly. It'll fit into your life more. And that creates consistency and brings us to where we want to be. Something my dad told me early on that really stuck with me was that, while the shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line, the quickest way to travel is the quickest way to travel the same distance is the route that has the least number of turns, right? It's the turns and the transitions that really slow us down.
Yeah.
And if we can not do that to ourselves, right? Life is going to do that. And we need to accept that. That's part of the journey, right? Like the progress, the line of progress is never just straight. Like it's all kind of all over the place, but we can control some of that. And when we're so focused on results and seeing, like I got to see some progress like every day or every week or whatever, then usually we become discouraged, right? We're never going to see what we want to see every freaking day. Like that's just not realistic, but we do that, right? And when we do that, it usually causes us to change direction. Oh, I got to change this.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to change that. I'm going to try this kind of,
Yep.
workout. I'm going to change gyms. I'm going to change trainers. I'm going to change, the kind of workout I do. I'm going to take up swimming. I'm going to, take on a new diet, and we
Lots and lots of changes constantly.
lots of changes, and we start studying more than we're taking action.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
And so we're not able to gain momentum. We don't see what happens when we stick with something for a year.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll trick ourselves into thinking it, right? Like,
Yep.
well, but I've been doing something
Yep.
for a year, but you haven't been
The
really
same thing.
doing the same type of thing for a year. And if you do lots of stuff, that's great. But yeah, those transitions and those turns, they kill us. And so if we can just kind of step back and just gain some peace, right? And well, make peace with what we're doing, and just be happy to be part of the process.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yep.
Then and enjoy the process, right? Learn to love the process that is health and fitness, because health and fitness is a process. It's not the whole, like, it's a journey, not a destination, and looking at it as a lifestyle and not an event.
Yeah.
Right.
Totally.
Because that's the fad right now, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing right now. Like, do this challenge. I shouldn't say right now. It's been going on forever.
Yeah.
Do this challenge. Do this for 6 weeks. Do the hardest shit ever for 6 weeks.
Prove to yourself that you can do this really hard stuff.
Yeah, right.
And
boom, and get what you want.
Yep.
And then it's over.
And then go back to normal life, everything the way that it used to be.
Right, right. And so what do you do after that, right? And it's your whole life. This is your whole life. We have to love it. We have to find things that we love to do. We have to find places where we love to be.
Yep.
And
it's funny. Yeah. I was just telling someone yesterday how when I started, I was not super in love with fitness. I grew up being a ballet dancer, so I knew how to take care of myself there, that it was really challenging for me to fall in love with fitness. But I remember the moment that I did fall in love with it, and I was like, oh, I know what to do with my body now to get a good workout. And when I started to feel it, and this was when I couldn't even interact with live people. We were still in shelter in place. Yeah. We were still doing virtual training, but I still had people that I showed up at 9:00 on Tuesdays and Thursdays and worked out with them and started to fall in love with it. So you just really got to find a way to dip your toe in and ease into that, and you will fall in love with it.
Yeah, find that place where you love to be and you want to be, and that creates that lifestyle.
Yep.
But yeah, when we're looking at like, I've got to get in shape, I've got to get healthy, and I get that. I get that thinking. Yes, we do. We have to go from where we are to a healthier way of living. But when we start thinking about thinking it more in terms of, I need to live healthy, right? Then we understand, being, and understanding that being in shape is not a look, it's a behavior,
right?
Right. And then it becomes more. Then we don't have this picture in our mind as much that we're hoping to see every day. And I think that buys us a lot of contentment.
Yeah.
Like, I'm doing what I want to do, what I like to do, and I know that it's healthy, and I'm supported by other people. But the returning to the story about the shirt, right? And looking back and going, oh, she was not looking every day. She didn't put that shirt on every day. This is getting easier. This is getting easier. She just was enjoying showing up and doing things. And this is someone, right. And I want to point out also that this was somebody whose first goal was to show up to the gym and work out twice a week.
Yep. That's simple.
Right.
That was her goal.
And now, right. How often does she come?
5 times a week.
5 times a week.
Yeah.
Why?
Because she loves it.
She loves it.
And she misses it if she's not here.
Exactly. She misses it when she's not
here. In fact, I think she said she feels off when she's not here,
Mm-hmm.
which
Right.
we can all relate to that. When you
Right.
build up something that becomes habitual, that you enjoy it, that you like it, you miss it from your life when it's not there.
Yeah.
And that's what we're trying to accomplish here.
Right. Right. And what would have happened if she'd come in here and said, I'm going 5 days a week, 6 days a week? She'd probably be gone.
Yeah, we probably wouldn't see her.
Right? Yeah, because it would have been too miserable at the beginning. She
Yep.
built up and made that happen. So that is that's the kind of story that we that we love
Yep.
over here. And we had a bunch of them this week.
Yeah.
We can make a podcast just on the texts that we get during the week.
Yeah.
Now of victories from people, and it's awesome. And it all of it is about, I couldn't have imagined being where I am now. So it's pretty sweet. All right.
So the takeaway is start small.
Start small, yeah.
Make a small goal for yourself and find something you love doing. If you love hiking and being outdoors, go hiking and be outdoors. Find something that will make you fall in love with fitness, and that's how you get started. You don't throw yourself into the lion's den. You slowly ease into it.
Yeah, ease into it.
Yeah.
All right.
Perfect.
We're out of here.
Let's wrap this
Good
puppy
job.
up.
We love you guys. We love you. You.
There it is.
There it is. Wherever the camera is.
Thank you for joining us.
Yeah. And keep doing what you guys do. We get a lot of awesome questions during the week, and we love answering that stuff. And so don't hesitate to do that for each other. Keep reaching out to each other. Keep lifting each other up the way that you do. That's totally our jam, and we love you. And we will see you soon. Bye.